Hey guys, this is Clay with Cigar Church. I'm here with Todd Nafee, the owner of ZT Cigars here in Oklahoma City, one of the coolest lounges that you'll ever come across. And we're excited to have a chance to interview you.
Sure,
we are here in your humidor, and as you can tell, it's a really large humidor. Todd, tell us a little bit about why you got into cigars, what you love about cigars, and what's your favorite cigar?
Okay, well, that's a lot.
It is.
I started off, I took over this shop in 2004. My cousin started it. He had a bad motorcycle accident.
Okay.
Wasn't sure if he'd ever make it out of the hospital, and they were his brothers were going to close it. And I said, well, let me try. And I got it to where it was making some money, and I got it to where it was doing pretty well. And started looking for a new location.
Yeah, because this is back when it was over off of what, Meridian?
4th and Meridian.
Yeah, yeah.
Which was, for what this shop originally was a wholesale operation only.
Right.
It wasn't retail at all. And which was a good location for that because we were right by UPS. It was so easy.
Yeah.
But when I wanted to take it more retail, we had to look for a more retail location. And it took about a year to find this place.
Wow.
And it's a very unusual building.
It is.
It's a concrete building on that side, with a concrete building wrapped around it. So it makes the humidor really easy to keep humid because 3 of the walls are concrete.
Oh wow! Wow.
That wall's
sealed
concrete.
Up nicely.
That wall, these 2 walls are concrete.
Yeah.
So that's why everything is so wide.
Yeah.
All the joists looking.
Yep.
I guess that's the right word for it. I don't know, the jams or whatever.
Yeah.
I'm not a builder. So we moved here 2010, and my vision was, when I first said we're going to do a members lounge, and some of the other retailers didn't like that idea. They said this is never going to work. People aren't going to pay to smoke, and we've got over 200 members.
Wow. Wow.
So we've got guys that are willing, and we still let people go back there. It's not like it's a locked off place, but I just wanted it to be more special. I didn't want people coming in and sitting smoking cigarettes.
Right.
And that was the problem we ran into in Yukon. So that's why we kind of took that away.
Right.
So it's been very successful.
Right.
Started off, I can remember smoking my very first cigar with my dad and my grandfather.
Yeah.
We smoked a Partagas Cifuentes.
Okay.
It was, they're not made anymore. It was really mild. That's what my grandfather always liked. He liked. Yeah. I can remember him smoking. Not Roy Tans. What's the other one? Antonio and Cleopatra.
Oh yeah, yeah. Is that's who's the place out of Tampa that I'm trying to think of? Ybor City area. Who's the?
I don't know.
Oh my gosh, I'm drawing a blank. We may have to cut this part out. The tour, J.C. Newman. Is that an old J.C. Newman?
No, that's not J.C. Newman.
Okay, cut that out then.
it's more of that Antonio and Cleopatra's a machine made.
Oh, okay.
And it's not by them.
Because I know they had a handful of old.
They still do, but that's not one of the ones that I don't think. I could be wrong, but I don't think it was ever one of theirs.
Yeah. All right.
But my dad and my grandfather used to go down to Standard Tobacco, which doesn't exist anymore. They'd go in there and they'd do a little trading. They'd trade a bottle of whiskey and get a couple boxes of cigars. And that was the way it always went in the old days.
So your first one wasn't a Swisher Sweet or a gas station cigar?
No, I did not. My dad didn't smoke those. My dad always smoked Partagas at that time. Partagas and Macanudo.
Yep.
Super mild, super clean. But that was back in the early 90s.
Those old guy cigars.
That's what they smoked.
And the H-Upmans. And absolutely.
So I can still remember that, and so I've always had a passion for them. I didn't know anything about it. I'm not going to tell you I had a clue how to run a business or anything about cigars, really. I just kind of knew what I liked.
Yeah.
And gradually over the years, from meeting with some of the best retailers in the country, I've got friends in North Carolina and Virginia and Kansas City and Dallas, Houston, and picking all those guys' brains and learning on my first trips to the Dominican and on my first trips to Nicaragua, learning more stuff. That's how I kind of got... I feel like I got my knowledge, and I still love to go on. I'm going to the DR this fall. It's my favorite place to go in the entire world.
Awesome.
So we went from there to kind of establishing this. When I first built this humidor, there's no way I'm ever going to fill this thing up.
Right.
And now I'm like, God, what am I going to cut to put the new stuff in?
Right, and you've got so much good backstock too, and I even saw some boxes sitting over in the locker room above. Or is that overstock?
Most of that's all sold.
Okay.
That's all.
So that's guys.
That's guys. The stuff on the far side is all mine.
Right.
And the stuff in the middle I've got 2 other customers that, look, I'm out of room in the locker. I'll take care of it for you. Don't worry about that. So we've got more lockers than then we've
Good
got
deal.
locker members. So I'll let those guys use them, and
Awesome.
if they see something they want to buy, they don't have room to put it. It's not a problem.
Yeah. So what's your favorite cigar right now? I know it rotates. We talked about that a minute ago, but what are you smoking?
I'm smoking the new Aganorsa, the Arsenio.
Oh, yeah.
These just came in, and it is absolutely phenomenal. Arsenio Ramos was quite the blender in his time, and this is something else.
Awesome. Very good. Very good. So what sets your humidor apart? What do you have in here that's, I know, I smoked this the other day, the 405 exclusive from Espinosa. Love Espinosa. So that's a fun one to smoke. But what else sets you kind of apart here and makes this humidor different than any other humidor in the state?
Well, we have a lot of vintage stuff in here too. I don't know. I mean, not a lot of shops want to store stuff.
Right.
And that has been a little bit different for me. I mean, I've kind of got to meet Dr. Paul Grammarian. I don't know if you've ever met him before, but
I haven't met him. I've smoked some of Paul
phenomenal.
Grammarian.
So I love it when his son Kevork is a good friend of mine, and he sends me little specials that they've got. We just found 20 boxes of a 2001 wrap cigar. So I always try to buy a few of those when they put them out, and we've got those in the humidor. And then the 405, which I actually blended.
Awesome.
Eric and I got together, and he sent me samples, and then I went down with him, and then he sent me some more samples. I kind of told him what I wanted. And this is kind of a spin-off of his Alibi. I don't know if you've ever smoked the Alibi, but it's a spin-off of the Alibi in some different sizes and a little bit in a different binder.
Yeah. Yeah, man, it's a good cigar. It's a wonderful cigar.
And I just had to put in another order. The big one is the one that sells the best. I'm not a 60 ring gauge guy.
I'm not either. I'm usually a Toro Robusto size, in that 52, 54 at the biggest. So
from spending time with Ernesto Carrillo and some of those guys, the very first time I met him, we were walking. This was when he was still at El Perdido, and we were walking through the factory, and he was telling me about it, and he says, "Well, what's your favorite cigar?" And I didn't even know it was his, but what's the club? You're gonna have to probably cut this out too. What's the cigar that he had? I have to go. I've got the last box. They're not even made anymore, but I've got the last box of them in my humidor at the house. So anyway, I said, well, that's my favorite cigar, and he opened up his pocket and pulled out two of them.
Had them on him.
Had him on him. That's back when they still made them at General, and so we smoked. And ever since then, he said, well, whenever I blend a cigar, I always blend it either a 44 or 46 ring gauge.
Okay.
Always Longsdale size, because you want it to have enough experience. You want about 5.5, 6 inches, and you want a 44, 46. That's when you can taste the most of the wrapper. Yeah. So ever since then, my favorite size is a Longsdale. I've always loved a 46 by 6.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
It's
and when you start getting into the 50s and 60s and all that, I mean, it's just a little. To me, it's just too much.
It is.
It's too much.
It's a mouthful.
We've talked about on the show before. One of the reasons I like a smaller cigar like a Robusto is if I got 2 hours to spend, I don't want it on one cigar. Right. I want to do 2 or 3 cigars and experience some other flavors and some different profiles as I'm doing it.
I would agree with that. You were asking what my favorite cigar is. I mean, it's hard. I've never smoked the same cigar twice in a row. Yeah. Ever. And I got a lot of customers that come in and they don't smoke anything but they'll
smoke 1 or 2 1 and that's it.
They may smoke 2 cigars a day, but they're still going to smoke the same cigar.
I can't do that. I've got to have variety.
And I'm not one to judge or tell you how to do it, but it just doesn't work for me. I'd rather change it up a little bit.
Good for them to find something that they like that much that they're going to spend all of their time and smoking effort on it. So good for them.
I mean, you got a lot of guys, a lot of Rocky guys. You've got a lot of Excalibur guys. I mean, it shocks me how many boxes of certain cigars
just
they don't sell in singles. But they sell by the box, and we sell tons of boxes.
When I was working at one of the other shops here in town, for some reason it was the Brick House, the Brick House, Connecticut, I think.
So a lot of that, the Mighty Mighties.
By the boxes. And like you say, nobody would buy singles, but we had one guy come in every week and buy 2 boxes. And it's just like, gosh, that just kept going off the shelf.
It's amazing the way that works.
It is. We're going to do a tour of the place. Brother, thank you so much.
Welcome. Glad to have you here.
For letting us come in and invade your space for a morning.
We can answer questions too. If you see something in here that kind of baffles you, It
Yeah.
wouldn't surprise me.
Awesome. Thanks, Todd.
You got
Appreciate
it.
you, brother.
Take care.
If you're in Oklahoma City, come and see ZT Cigars. Spend some money here. Help support what he's doing. He's been a vital part of the cigar culture in Oklahoma City for 20 years or so.
I've been doing it for over 20 years
Yeah,
now.
yeah.
But the shop's been here since 98.
Awesome. So come and see ZT Cigars, and we're going to give you a tour. We're going to walk through the humidor, go through the locker room, everywhere, show you the lounge, so you can kind of know what to expect when you come here.
And if you're from out of town, we'll always let you back into the lounge. All you got to do is come in and buy some cigars.
There you go.